Hi everybody. I'm really tired. Ina decided that well, this weekend would be a good weekend to stop sleeping. So I'm here and we will try to make it through a comparison of some tatting threads. And if you didn't get the newsletter, haven't been on our Facebook page, or haven't clicked onto blacksheepfiberemporium.com, you may not know that next weekend we are doing the COVID online Oregon Fiber Festival. It's something that Tina made up, kind of. I contributed a little. But the idea is that we are going to have a little sale and have a little fun, and starts Friday, so runs Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's the 25th to 27th, because we don't have Oregon Flock and Fiber this year. So we thought, why not? Let's do something a little bit fun with the weekend. And I'll be teaching today. Wednesday we'll do something, I don't know, what should we do Wednesday? I don't think anybody's watching yet, but what should we do Wednesday? We should do something fun on Wednesday. We should do something like, I don't really have any felting stuff. Felting would have been fun. What should we do? What should we do? We could spin. I do like to spin. It's been a while. I could have another sit and chat, and maybe I'll knit, because my stitching was not going very well when I was trying to stitch and chat. Ooh, that was bad. Yeah, I don't know. I'll be back on Wednesday. I'll teach you something else. I try to teach something every time I'm on here. Let's see. Oh yes, and Tina's still working on her knitted t-shirt. And she has a whole series going on with that. She's going to put a bunch of videos up on YouTube. We'll share those on our Facebook page too, so we'll make sure that you have a chance to see those. So today I want to talk about thread, and we'll talk about thread sizes. So in general, when you have a higher number for thread, that means that your thread is going to be thinner. So size 80 Lisbeth or DMC or any other thread is thinner than size 10 or 20 or 40. So that's the general rule with thread sizes. The higher the number, the thinner the thread. And I'm sure there's a reason for that, and at one point I knew it, but my poor little addled brain, so sleep deprived right now, is not coming up with the reason. But I'm sure there's a reason behind it. I have a lot of different threads to show you. I dug out some Lisbeth size 3. This is some big stuff. This is I think it's Elisa, it could be Eliza. This is the new stuff from Handy Hands. And this is a size 10. And I'll flip the camera down a little bit and compare them. Then I have the Perlavka, and this stuff falls somewhere around a 30-ish. It's definitely thinner than 20, but thicker than 40, and it's got a little more loft to it. So we'll talk a little bit about spin and twist and ply as well, because all of that affects the softness of your thread. Trying to think. Oh yes, I dug out some. I have parawire here. I actually have non-tarnished silver plated parawire. This is size 32 gauge, because I do tat with that. And I had some white as well. And then look at this. I'm just like digging out all kinds of stuff. That's really what happened. This is fabulous. So this is Lisbeth in a size 40, but it is hand dyed. So that's kind of fun. So I just kind of went through my prodigious stash of thread, and I pulled a whole bunch of thread out to talk about differences. So there's a 40. So now I've got, what have I got? A 3, a 10, a 40, a 30-ish. The wire. And, oh, here's this is an old Sibelia. And I think this is a size 20 Sibelia. It's an old DMC. And when I was digging stuff out, look, I found this. This is one of my demonstration pieces. So when I was demoing and I had to be in like period costume, I would dig this out because it was a solid color, and I have a little beautiful, beautiful David Reed Smith tatting shuttle on here. I love this little thing. Look how tiny it is. See how tiny this little guy is? I love this one. But I use this one for demonstrating because it doesn't have a pick and it's wood, so it's appropriate for period reenactments, right? And then I also grabbed some size 80, so I have some DMC. This is a little ball of DMC, and I also have some Lizbeth size 80. So I kind of thought I'll just like lay some of this stuff out. And I have some projects that I started for various classes that I have never finished. Oh good, and there's the Lizbeth size 20. Like, I was trying to make sure that I had a nice selection so that I can flip the camera around and show you this. Oh, and look, I have some of my little decorated shuttles. I decorate these myself. Aren't they fun? I need to make more of these. And a little dab of tatting on there. But I want to have a little discussion about size and ply, and yeah, we can leave that one. Oh, and then I have a couple of threads that we are thinking about bringing in as well. They're up in here. So this is gorgeous. This is the Olympus. I love this stuff, and I'll talk to you about why. And then this one is a metallic. So anyway, I'm gonna flip my camera down and hopefully not make a giant mess of this, and we'll have a little discussion about thread. Hey Trish, are you watching from your schoolie? Okay, and this, and oh, look at all the threads. So much thread, so much thread. All right, see, doesn't that look all pretty? Yeah. All right, so let's start with the thickest. Here's the DMC 3. This is the really thick stuff. When it comes to thread, anyway. Of course, you know, we have much thicker yarns. We have everything from, you know, lace weight up to bulky. And give me a moment, I'm trying to fix the camera so it doesn't fall over. There we go. So this right here is the size 3. It's a fairly thick thread. If you compare the 3 to the 10, I'll just kind of lay these side by side. Not a lot of tatting is done with size 3. Mostly the size 3 is kept for things like crochet or knitting. You can tat with size 3. There's no reason you cannot. It's just that it's a little thicker thread, so it makes heavier tatting, and it's not as delicate looking as a result. So there's a 3, and this happens to be Lizbeth 3, and for Lizbeth it's actually pretty soft. I cannot get my camera set correctly today. There we go. For 3 it's pretty soft. For Lizbeth it's fairly soft. This one is is this 3-ply? No. Well, it's technically, I suppose this is a 6-ply. So when we pull this apart a little bit, you can see, there we go, that we've got 3 plies. Yep, it is a 3-ply. So, oh no, I'm wrong. It is a 6-ply, as I thought. So this one has 2 strands twisted together, and then each of those 2 strands is twisted together again to give it that 6-ply. It's a fairly robust yarn. It's fairly round, but it is softer for me than a lot of the Lizbeth. The Lizbeth is known as being a little bit harder, and that's because it has a higher twist, and when it has that higher twist, it makes for very crisp stitches. So here's an example of the Lizbeth. Very crisp stitches, but it is a harder thread because of that. It's not as soft when it moves through your fingers. Here's the DMC. This is Sibelia. I'll just lay it next to it. These are, I think this is size 40. This one's size 20. Actually, that might be 20. No, that one is a 40. So this is size 40, this one's size 20. This is a softer thread. It's the DMC Sibylla. It's an old thread. It's harder to get nowadays, especially in nice colors. And I think this one's nice because I like this slate blue gray, but you know, that's a personal preference of mine. The DMC is just a little bit softer spun. When you really look at the thread itself, it is a little bit softer in its spinning. It doesn't have quite as many twists per inch, and because of that, it makes that cotton just a little bit softer in the presentation of the thread, so it does make it a little bit softer in the presentation of the stitches as well. So let me try to get all of that, there we go, Sibylla up out of the way. Let me move these as well. I'm trying to keep this vaguely tidy. So 3 versus 10, you can definitely see that the 10 is thinner. Here's a 20 that I can lay out next to it. This one's also a Lisbeth and a 20. And then here is sort of our 30 when it comes to the Perlavka. And the reason that I consider this one more of a 30 than a 20 is because this one is a fluffy yarn. It acts more like a pearl cotton. It's a much softer twist. There are far fewer twists per inch in this in order to achieve that finely spun product. So it makes a fluffier product in the end. But it acts more like a 30 than a 20, especially when you are comparing the Lisbeth. So this is a 40. So here's the, I hope that this is showing up. There's the 3, 10, 20, our Perlavka, which is not marked, and 40. And even though this one looks pretty similar to the 20 in terms of the thickness, it acts more like a 30 because of the fluffiness and the loftiness. And then let me see if I can grab, here's my end. Here's an 80. I don't think I've got a 50 or a 60 right now. Here's an 80. Oh, that may not be the best choice of color. Can't quite see that one. Hang on. Let me get you a better color. There we go. See if this one shows up better. Not really. Very light. So here's an 80, and you can really see the progression now. Here's a 3 versus an 80, right? Very, very different. This is actually the same colorway. This is in a 3 and this one's in the 80. So when we're looking at thread, there are some fabulous ones out there. This one is the, I think this was the size 40. In the Olympus. Let me just find the end and roll this one out. There it is. Yeah, so that's the 40 Olympus. And it too, it just has a little different presentation. Yeah, that's the 40. So I really like this stuff too. The Olympus is just a little bit softer in its spin. It doesn't have quite as many twists per inch. You probably can't see that through the video. But the Lisbeth 40 has more twists per inch than what the Olympus does. That makes it just a little bit softer. It makes it tat just a little bit softer. It's actually a really, really beautiful thread that Tina and I are talking about bringing in. And they do have that Olympus in several different sizes. So I think we're going to try to get all of the different sizes just because I really like it. I really like the Lisbeth. The Lisbeth has a fantastic range of colors. That is one thing. Lisbeth, they have gone above and beyond to have a wide range of colors. And you can get that wide range of colors on the 10, the 20, the 40, and the 80. The only one that's a little more limited right now is the 3. So they have done a great job in making sure that there's a really wide range of colors in this Lisbeth thread. And it is great thread. It makes really crisp stitches. But sometimes I don't really want a super crisp stitch. Sometimes I want a little softer stitch. And they did introduce this, the size 10, Eliza, I'm not sure how you say it, that does that. It is a little softer spun. It's a little softer on your hands. Because the one thing that really bugs me about Lisbeth when I work with it for too long is that this is really harsh on my hands. And I tend to get grooves and I develop calluses in my fingers, which I don't have any right now. I haven't been tatting for a while because, you know, Ina won't let me. But with the Lisbeth, I develop grooves in my fingers from the thread sliding along my hand. And calluses, and it's not a bad thing necessarily, but sometimes it can be really painful if your hands are cracking to work with this Lisbeth thread. And of course, you know, you just want to stay really well hydrated, so you drink a lot of water and you put lotion on your hands, but then you have to wait a little bit before you can tat, so it's this never-ending, you know, cycle. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was metallics. So this is one that they've been talking about in my tatting group. This happens to be a metallic thread, and I always like to say that I think it's somewhere, it's definitely finer than a 40. Definitely finer than a 40. But it's not as fine as an 80. I don't think. No, it's definitely not as fine as an 80. So I was kind of telling Tina that it probably falls in the like 50 to 60 range. Because it doesn't actually have a, you know, thread weight, quote unquote, on it. But I really quite like this. I like this better than most of the other metallic thread that I've worked with. I like that it's a little bit finer, so I do get a nicer presentation on my tatted pieces. It doesn't have a huge color range. That is one thing. Lisbeth does a really good job in making sure that they have lots of colors. The Perlavka, I've got tons of colors here, but not nearly as many variegated colors as what Lisbeth provides. The DMC mostly came in solids. It's harder to find. But one of the nice things is that you can actually get, so this one's Snapdragon lace, but you can get hand-dyed thread from various places, and this one happens to be on the Lisbeth size 40. See, base thread is Lisbeth, and it's beautifully hand dyed. This gal, she does a beautiful job in the hand dyeing. But it's kind of nice because dye can affect how harsh and how soft your thread feels. So sometimes having a hand-dyed thread will actually make that thread feel softer, even though it's the same base as, you know, the commercially dyed Lisbeth. It can feel softer because of her preparation and the materials that she's using in terms of a mordant and sometimes even just your water. If your water's a little bit different, the pH is a little different, it has a little more iron, a little more calcium, whatever, that can also affect the handle of your thread. So sometimes having these hand-dyed threads is really nice because even if you don't necessarily like Lisbeth, you may love Snapdragon just because it feels really nice when you're working with it. So let's see. I think I've talked about most of this. If anybody has questions, it's always a great time to ask questions because I'm really tired and I'm trying to remember everything that I wanted to tell you, but yeah, my brain's not working very well. Tatting with wire is really fun until, of course, your spool of wire decides to unspool, which is what happened with this one. And I contemplated just cutting it, but I decided that I would try to save it. Oh, it's probably wasn't the right decision. There are some techniques and some things that you can do when you're working with wire that makes it a lot easier. Most of the time, I don't work in anything finer than 32 gauge. I like 28 and 30, 32 on occasion, but the way that I tat, I seem to stress the 32 a little too much, and I tend to break it. So if you don't want to work with metal, you can always try a metallic thread. If you aren't interested in a metallic thread, then you can always try metal instead. And I am teaching a class in this, and I'm doing a day's work in this as well at IOLI. So I'm teaching a little class in and had a tat with wire at Shuttlebirds next year. Hopefully, I would really like to go to Shuttlebirds. I really hope it happens in May. And then the following July, then the year after, so 2022 at IOLI, we'll spend a day on this in my tatting class. We'll spend one day with working with wire. And it's a lot of fun to work with wire and make wire tatted items. I wish that Ina would let me knit or tat or spin, but she does like to run off with all my stuff. Okay, does anybody have questions about like why spin affects your thread softness? I'll just explain that one because now I've cropped up with that. So when you have more twists per inch, it causes the fibers to lie together and make them tighter. And when those fibers are tighter together and they lie closer together, then when they run over your hand, they feel harsher to your touch. That's why sometimes in order to get a balanced yarn, your balanced yarn when you are spinning can be harder or harsher to the touch. Now the advantage of that is that the ones that have more twists per inch are going to be harder wearing because they're tighter together and they're harder to break apart. And when you get wear and tear, that's because your fibers are broken apart. So this Lizbeth is going to be harder wearing, longer wearing than what my DMC Sibelia will be. Just things to keep in mind as you're working, and definitely harder wearing than my Perlavka, which I love working with. It's a beautiful thread to work with, but it is not as hardy a thread as what the Lizbeth is. All right. Do I have any questions? I'm just showing you the pretties and talking, and we're discussing thread. Anybody? All right, I'm gonna flip this up then. Oh, look, you get to see all my stuff in progress. We're fixing our chairs, some of our chairs out here on the deck. I shouldn't say we, honestly, that's all my husband. He decided to do it, and I'm glad he did, because they'll look much, much better when he's done. All right, there we go. Okay, so, oh, I'm a little bit crooked. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to fix it. I'm still a little crooked. When it comes to thread, I tend to work mostly in 20 and 40. I don't work as much in bigger sizes, the 10 or the 3, as I do the 20 and the 40. I also don't tend to work the smaller sizes. Occasionally, I'll break out the size 80, especially if I'm making something that I consider an heirloom. So when I make garters, like for weddings, occasionally I give garters as a gift before the wedding for the bride, and I hand make the garter, hand stitch the garter, and then I hand make the lace and I attach the lace to it. I don't do it very often because it is a lot of work to do that, but it's hopefully an heirloom that will stay within the family and be passed down, and the lace will hopefully be used over and over again, even if it's not used in a garter. So I do like to use 80 when I do that. It's much finer, it's thinner, it's frillier, so it looks more lace-like. And so when I do that, I do use 80. When I'm making like pillowcase edgings, I like to use 20 and 40. And like for this demonstration, I've been using size 20, forever. This poor thing has been around for probably at least 10 years. I've been working on this at least 10 years because this shuttle I bought in 2007. Thank you so much for marking it, Mr. David Reed Smith, because I know that I bought the shuttle in 2007, so that means I probably have been working this specific edging since 2007. And I only ever work on this when I take it for reenactments and demonstrations. And I really need to put in a bunch of my ends so that it's a little less messy the next time I go out. Yeah. There's probably photos of me working on this at the Feast of the Hunter's Moon at Fort Wyattanawn in Lafayette, Indiana, and there's probably photos of me working on this at the Dickens of a Christmas, also in Lafayette, Indiana. And then I'm pretty sure that there's a picture of me working on this at Champouy, Oregon. So this piece of lace has really gotten around, I have to say. I've been working on that one for a while, and like I said, I don't get this out to work on it as a regular piece. I only get it out for those reenactments because I need something that has a wooden shuttle. So I keep it just for that. Anyway, I don't know. I'm rambling now because, again, I'm super tired because Ina is not sleeping. So if you're looking for thread and you don't see something online on that blacksheepfiberemporium.com website that you're interested in, you can always send an email to Tina or I, and we will do our very best to track it down for you. We really, really love the Olympus threads, and they have a metallic that I want to try. So we are like this close to ordering these for sort of our fall winter season because we like them, because we just like them. They're good threads and they feel good and they tat pretty. And of course you can always do crochet or knitting with these. You could also use them for weaving. Some of them you could use for Mediterranean knotted lace as well, especially the finer ones. I wouldn't use size 3 or size 10 by any means, but I digress. So if you're looking for a thread and you don't find it on the website, let us know. We'll do our best to try to bring that in for you, if it's at all possible. And oh, we have tatting shuttles, all kinds of tatting shuttles that are going to be on sale, and we have like little kitty yin yang pins that are going to be on sale, and we have yarn that's going to be on sale. I mean, there's going to be a lot of stuff. We got a lot of stuff going on. And it starts Friday. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're going to have a big sale. We'll have 3 categories that'll be on sale. The Kokomo Recommends, the featured products. Oh, there go my duckies. And the fiber. So we're going to clear some of that stuff out so we can bring more fun stuff in, because that's what we like to do. We like to keep our staples. We like to bring new things in and try them out, and then you know, sometimes you get fabulous deals because we want to try something else that's new. And Tina's really getting into the, what do you call it, the Edwardian, I think it's her Edwardian Society, and doing fun stuff with them. So she's bringing in some more of the items that you would need to make your clothes for the Edwardian Society. Anyway, I don't know, Wednesday maybe I'll do just a little dab of tatting, and we'll talk about like wire tatting versus thread tatting, and versus the metallic threads, and I'll see if I can dig out any more thread. I'm sure I have more thread somewhere. I'm terrible about keeping thread, you know. Anyway, until next time, because again, I'm so tired, I'm so sorry. Take care of yourself, and be healthy, be happy, be safe. Wear your mask when you go out. I'm so glad that the fires are starting to dissipate, that they're starting to get them under control, and I feel so badly for all of the people who lost everything from, you know, a home to a family member in the fires out west. It's terrible. Seems like we live with a lot of tragedy this year. A lot of tragedy. Anyway, don't want to dwell on that right now because it'll make me cry because I'm way too tired. So, until Wednesday, keep crafting, take care of yourselves, make sure that you have hit the like button on our Facebook page so you get notifications when we go live, and make sure that you have subscribed to our YouTube channel if you're finding us there, so that you know when I put the videos up. And I don't always manage to get them up the same day. I try, but sometimes honestly I just forget. So I'll do my best to make sure that I'm getting all of them up there. Keep watching for that. And until Wednesday, take care of yourselves.